So that was an upset, wasn't it, David? USA1 losing to UAE, and they're now in 8th place, the last qualifying spot.
Quite amazing. Yes, I hadn't actually seen that result. I saw the USA teams were 7th and 8th. Yeah, pretty strong lineup of teams have made it to the top of the leaderboard in the Bermuda Bowl, certainly.
Yeah, 51-38 actually. Now, the good news, we have some good news. Because David is English and I'm Danish. So the good news is that England took a maximum 20 and they are now in 8th ahead of Poland. The other good news is that England are playing against Jordan now, second to last, while Poland are playing against Italy, another strong team at the top. And then the last good news is, of course, that Denmark won comprehensively against Chinese Taipei. Not a bad team. So they are leading by a margin. So lots of good news for us at the moment, that is.
That was all in the women's event, of course.
Yes, indeed. And Denmark now playing against Guadeloupe. So we are hopeful. And they really need it because, you know, tomorrow, 2 of the 3 matches tomorrow, Denmark will be playing USA1 and Netherlands, 2 very strong teams.
Very strong, and I think their teams, both of which England lost to. Certainly I saw they lost to the Netherlands, so great rivals of ours in Europe. Very, very strong indeed. Now, this match I'll be able to sit back and relax a bit. I'm always a bit tense when England are playing, but over the last couple of days they've played so wonderfully well. They've relieved me of any feelings of extreme aggravation and pain. It's been a great pleasure to watch them. Now we've got another 2 great squads, USA1 and China. Let's hope to see some really great bridge and a lot of excitement.
Thin game here available for East-West. Pass the pocket bid, 3 spades, partner, you make the final error.
I think some players would have passed on the West cards because East is more or less obliged to bid 2 spades if he's got just 5 cards in the suit and not much in terms of high card points. So it's West who made the bold bid. East is indeed fully entitled to bid 4 spades with a 5th trump and a precious ace in his hand, and an expectation both from the original double and the raise of the hearts that his partner will be short in hearts. So, yeah. Well done to the China pair.
Now let's go back to the lead, David, and your simulations. Your simulations will probably recommend a club lead from the south hand.
Absolutely, they've led a diamond well. It hasn't cost because the ace, queen, jack are in the dummy. Gosh, it looks absolutely wonderful for a club lead because you've got the ace of trumps, and mind you, you're not expecting your partner to have anything much by way of entries or indeed in the club suit, so you're quite a long way off scoring a club rough. But against that, a diamond lead from the king, which we've been discussing over various matches, all too likely to find the other side with ace and queen, and had those cards been split, the diamond lead could have given something away. Interesting that he preferred that to a heart lead, even though the hearts had been raised.
Now say Mech switches to the trump here, ace of spades and another, then they can prevent heart ruff. Because if declarer tries to ruff a heart, North will win it and can play his third spades.
Declarer can see 4 spades and 3 diamonds is 7, ace king of clubs bring it up to 9, so he's looking for one more trick, which could be a heart ruff if the defence don't switch to trumps.
But if he does, say ace of spades and another, then declarer has enough interest to set up his clubs for a discard. So I think he's going to make it, no matter what.
May not matter, particularly with regard to necessary card reading here, but Mextroff, having had a heart raise, would have definitely led a heart from ace-king, of course, and almost certainly from king-queen. So it's likely that he's got ace-queen. He's got more points than his partner, so ace 9 to 5 is unlikely. Pretty likely he's got ace-queen of hearts and the king of diamonds. And if he did play ace and another trump, which he hasn't done, then declarer could expect the queen of clubs to be offside, even if he didn't have this cast on play of establishing the 5th club with a ruff.
So now he has ensured his heart ruff and will take 10 tricks. I'm told that the contract in the other room is 3 hearts. Chinese bought the contract in 3 hearts. That's a little strange, but I have to trust it.
It's surprising they went that high. It's not that surprising that East-West haven't bid to 4 spades though. That's why I was going to say, if Mextroff and Rodwell convinced themselves that there hadn't been any way to beat it, that wasn't the end of their worries on the board, because there was some chance that 4 spades wouldn't be reached with 16 points opposite 6.
Yeah. I have an account in the other room now, and the contract is indeed 3 hearts. That went 2 off.
Can you tell us the bidding to get up to the 3 level in hearts?
Sure. Pass, 1 heart, double by West, 2 hearts, 2 spades, 3 hearts, or pass.
Well, there we go. You see here, West bid 3 spades as a game try, and over 3 hearts by South. The American West could have bid 3 spades and wouldn't have been showing such a strong hand by doing so. So he's sort of bid it 2 levels lower than the West did here. You can think of it that way.
Well, I would turn that around, David, and perhaps make East compete with 3 spades. He's the one who has the 5th spade.
Well, I agree with that too. Yeah, he might have done. Very common hand type that Sam has here, and one of the methods of dealing with it is to play Bergen raises, where 3 clubs and 3 diamonds show hands in the middle range with 4-card trump support. Perhaps the lower one something like 7 to 9 points, and 3 diamonds about 10 to 11. Shall I get the Chinese convention card on my screen, Roland, because you know Mextroff and Rodwell's bidding methods pretty well?
Yeah, I really don't think we need them, David, because we have our Hollander in this room, the Oracle. East-West playing precision. This contract has 4 losers, of course, but you have to be a little careful as defender. You see, if Rodwell returns a diamond, the contract will make. So he has to switch to a club. Same contract in the other room, but that is going down. South didn't lead a diamond, but I can't see at the moment what he did lead. We'll find out soon enough.
Diamond looks like the obvious lead. It's a question of what your lead style is, if you always just give count, or if you play that a low card lead promises an honour, which can help partners to judge whether that suit should be pursued. If I think back to, what was it, about 40 years ago, when I first started writing some bridge books with the great Terence Rees, he used to always comment in his articles, well, of course the USA players, they lead low from 3 small, which is vastly superior. And I thought, goodness me, that must make life difficult. You know, I prefer leading a low card to show an honour, but of course I assumed the great man knew what he was talking about, as I was a relative novice then, and he was ex-world champion and top bridge writer in the world. But this is the sort of deal where maybe North would like to know if his partner had led from an honour. But we've said that players are very reluctant to lead away from kings, so he must expect leading from 3 to the queen is not much safer. So unless he had no safe lead available, Rodwell can maybe guess what the position is. Well done, well done. Found the club switch.
Well, we saw before that Mech is not in the Forrester camp. He did lead away from a king. Remember? King to 4 diamonds. So, sure, he could have the king of diamonds here as well. The lead in the other room was the ace of clubs.
Well, it was a neat defence, and when every time we see a defence like that, we think, oh well, yeah, they had 4 tricks off the top. But we all know that it is not so easy to cash your tricks off the top, and if these top pairs can manage to do it 9 times out of 10, whereas everyone else manages it 7 times out of 10, that's a big edge to them. Lots of inferences and negative inferences going into it. What partner might have chosen to lead from, and trying to gauge the declarer's hidden hand as well from what bids he's made. A lot of hard work has to go into defending contracts.
Right, two diamonds was game forcing. 3-no trumps is okay, even on a heart lead, which is annoying of course, but you're okay as long as you knock out the ace of spades. Then you have plenty of tricks. 4 clubs, 4 spades and 2 hearts. What a strange lead. Sorry. Well, his reasoning was that there's maybe not much hope of setting up the heart because he has no side entry, and he was hoping to hit partners long suit instead. I think most people would lead a heart.
Yes, I mean, leading a club instead is a sign of sort of intelligence in a way, because first of all, 6-card suits are quite likely to find partner with a singleton, so they're not such a good prospect as 5-card suits. Also, he has a weak hand without any side entries, so even if he can set up the hearts, he may not get in again. But I think most people would lead a heart quite rightly from that hand, because they'd say, well, looks like they've got a lot of points. If we can't get up 5 tricks, including these splendid hearts, where else are we going to find 5 tricks? And you're not likely to find some sort of massive club suit in your partner's hand and enough entries to set that up. So it may be that finding partner with 3 hearts, even if you think it's unlikely, is your best chance of beating the contract, which is probably a 90% certainty to make anyway.
Yeah, you see partner has 2 aces and 3 hearts, and one of the aces could easily have been the ace of hearts. Declarer could have a doubleton heart, and then the contract is down on a heart lead. Same contract in the other room, and same result most likely. So no swing there. East-West may reach 4 spades here, which will go down on a heart lead. Heart to the ace, heart rough, ace of spades, ace of clubs. So let's see. 1 club is strong.
Pretty good case for downgrading that hand. I always remember when I played precision for 20 years, if you had a flat 16 count, sometimes partner could respond 1-no trump on a flat 8 count, and you ended up having no play for it. So you might have called it a 15 count.
Yeah, if somehow they could have made West declarer, it might have a chance, but unlikely even that. It suggested that you can take 2 heart roughs, but of course you can only take 1.
They opened one no trump on 13 to 15. They'd open diamond on 12 to 14. Had he taken the decision to downgrade, they probably wouldn't have got to game. But there are 3 aces missing. Of course, the King of Hearts over the bid is a valuable card.
This is for sure a singleton, because the alternative is king third, and Maxwell's can't have that when he didn't bid 2 hearts over the double. The 7 is a no preference card. Two of hearts would actually have asked for a diamond and not a club. They play reverse suit preference signals. Everything's reversed for Mecwa.
Says on their card that if it goes a club, a heart, then a suit bid at the 1 or 2 level will only be Scandinavian point of view, and they've picked some other game.
It's political, sensitive, and that we must show all teams. But then David said this morning, fair enough, but maybe they could have ditched one of the other matches then.
Now this double on a passed hand is really quite common, showing round about a maximum pass and maybe either majors or minors. I'm not sure exactly what they play. But it's less common when partner is a passed hand, because the main purpose of it is to find partner with something like a 12 or 13 count, when he can leave the double in, knowing that you've got a near maximum. Here, North and South have both chosen the option to pass, despite being pretty forward bidders, and Mextroth has still come in with this double, hoping to shunt the opponents out of one no trump. Hasn't chosen a very good time for it, because his partner's got double since in the majors, so we'll see what happens now. I'm sure Rodwell will try 2 diamonds. Oh wow, he's passed. Well, no need to redouble on the East cards. He'll be happy to make one no trump double, surely. Oh no, well,
He didn't
got an uncertain pass.
Yeah. Surely he bits 2 diamonds. Normally enough.
Well, I was expecting South to pass. He's already shown the majors, so if partner has said I want to play in diamonds, why would you bid hearts again? Anyway, there we go.
I think that's a very good point from a spectator here. What's the purpose of reopening at this vulnerability with a past partner facing a past partner? I really can't see it. I know one has to be careful to be critical of a player like Mextroth, who has won everything, much more than anyone will ever win. But I still don't think that balancing is right with this hand under the circumstances. And we are allowed to disagree with the world's best occasionally. We don't do it that often.
Well, we say what we think, and ours is only just one opinion to be set against the opinion of the player who's done something differently. And some viewers are perfectly entitled and probably very often right to say, well, I think I'll go with so-and-so, the player's judgment instead of the commentator's judgment. But here I already mentioned how unusual it was to use one of these doubles facing a partner who's a passed hand. He's only 4-4, and there's no reason whatever to expect one no trump to go down when your partner's a passed hand, even if he's got 10 or 11, you've only got 9. And it's not going to work out very well. But, you know, maybe for the last 5 or 10 years people have been wondering how on earth long can Mextroth and Rodwell go on and on and on winning. They've been winning Bermuda bowls practically forever, and they look out for signs of their power beginning to wane, like everyone's does when you get to a certain age, and basically there's been pretty little evidence of that happening. We've seen Mextroth make a few mistakes, obviously, but they've been playing for a whole week. So nothing particularly major, and they are still perfectly entitled to think of themselves as one of the world's very best pairs.
Now this will probably be a gain for USA. This contract is destined to go 3 down, I think. But Levin Weinstein in the other room are in 3 no trumps, and I don't think you have any defense against that contract. played by West even on the lead of a diamond, the 10 of diamonds. I think this will make. Also,
you remember on a board, maybe even it was the previous board, that West chose not to lead a 6-card suit, and I said I thought on that bidding it was worth bidding it, but worth leading it. But in general, you can see that Ace Jack 10 to 6 diamonds is not that wonderful a lead to make against 3 no trumps. Again, it may be the best one to try. But there's every chance when they haven't found a major suit fit that your partner will have a singleton diamond. Here, look, they've got 7 cards in both the majors, and partner still has a singleton diamond, yeah. If they had fewer than 7 in one of the majors, they would have even more cards down in the minors, and your partner would be even more likely to have a singleton diamond. So 5-card suits are great to lead, 4 cards are not so good, and you're reluctant to lead away from king to 4 or queen to 4, maybe giving a trick away. And 6-card suits are not as good as people think.
now here, Max Cross was even lucky to find dummy with 9-8 of hearts. If I bid like this, partner has too small, and East will be able to over-rough dummy now.
Well, anyway, they're a tiny bit lucky not to get doubled here. They've got no fit, and they've come in very riskily with not that many points. Could have gone for 500 or even 800.
800. And you know, I don't think East is too far away from a double here, facing 14-16 no trump, and knowing that they have 4-7 hearts at best. They may only have 6. So I know that you should be careful when you double part scores, that will award game bonus if they make, but you must be pretty certain that this contract would go down. I'm asked, do you know why Italy and Netherlands are not playing in this Bermuda Bowl? I do indeed, because they didn't qualify. They didn't finish among the top six at last year's European Championships. Well, with a
Hi, Gerhard. Welcome. Most players would bid 1 heart on the West cards.
Yeah, Sun thinks is too strong to just overcall 1 heart. I don't think he is, but for him he is too strong. I just think it's a normal 1 heart overcall. In the old days, you had to double every time you had an opener. That's not the trend anymore. You can overcall with up to 17, 18 high cut points if you have a long, strong suit.
But also in those days they played that 2 hearts was a stronger hand than 1 heart, so they had bids available to show the hearts straight away. Doubling first is not something you ever want to do, because you may get preempted away, or your partner may jump in a suit that you don't have, and if you've only got that sort of not very special 16 count, might not suit you.
Six hearts by East. David, how do you like that? They did manage to make East declarer, where the King of Diamonds is protected, and where you can set up the clubs for a diamond pitch. So that would have been a good spot.
Well, of course you're not meant to bid 5 over 5, but it seems that 5 spades would have been okay, because they've got some sort of double fit. No, there's not. Do they get a trump promotion on clubs? Maybe they take 2 spade tricks.
If you get to slam here, it will most of the time, almost all the time, be played by West, because I think most people will overcall 1 heart rather than double. And then of course it's down on a diamond lead. On the other hand, if West overcalls 1 heart, I don't think they'll get close to slam.
Quite possible they might go to 5 spades, say a heart lead, and then ace and another club. And then I think another club promotes a second trump trick.
They're still playing 21 in the other room, the 3-no trump contract, where Max Ross went 3 down vulnerable here in 2 hearts. Levin can make it in the end game. I think 4 cards to play now.
Two clubs is just a natural bid showing less than the strength to open 1 club, and at least 5 clubs, and for many pairs it will be 6 clubs. So we've got both pairs at this table playing strong clubs, with 2 clubs the normal opening bid on 11 to 15 with long clubs.
Yeah. Traditional precision, it only promises 5 cards, but for North-South here it promises 6. They open 1 diamond if they only have 5.
2 spades is normally played as non-forcing, it's just a pick-up bid in case partner happens to have a 3-card support. And the odds of partner having support for your long suit are not that good really when he's got 6 clubs. It's much more likely to hold length in your short suits, particularly when the opponents haven't come in. So Mextroff is not particularly wonderful in terms of strength. If he's got something like ace, king, jack, 10 to 6, and may imagine that 3-no trumps can still make, he can rebid 3 clubs or 2-no trumps with different meanings. So that ends it. And we see East-West had some sort of fits in the red suits, and they've been shut out, whereas had South opened 1 club, West would have enough for a takeout double, a club double, a spade, and now East has a good hand to play in the red suit. So without the 2 club opener, they certainly wouldn't have been able to shut out East-West.
Yeah, but the opponents missed the game, David. I mean, 5 clubs is code. I'm not so sure about 2 spades. That's the bit. The North hand 2 spades non-forcing with ace third in clubs, knowing that you have a 9-card fit in clubs. I can understand why he did it, but I'm not sure it was the odds when partner has shown 6 clubs. What are the odds of finding partner with 3-card spade support?
Well, even if he's got it, yes, perhaps you should think that with, if you just for a moment imagine partner's got king, queen to 6, add in your ace and the ace of spades, that's 7 tricks, and you've only thought about 5 points from his hand. So I thought at the time that 2 spades was pretty automatic, but I can see it depends on what 3 clubs means. I mean, obviously it means that you haven't found a spade fit, but in the basic precision you had either 2 no trumps or 3 clubs available, and they depended either on high card strength or perhaps on suit quality, which one you chose. It seemed at the time that North couldn't go again, and we must assume Mextroff had what is a 3-club bid. But those 2 aces, it reminds us how powerful aces are.
Now, would you overcall 1 spade there, David, or would you bid Michael's?
Well, that depends on their agreement. I mean, it looks okay for Michael's unless they play split range. It's either weak or strong, and that falls in the middle.
Yeah, it doesn't say on the card the strength of the Michaels. I suspect many would. I don't mind 1 spade a bit, I have to say, because it is difficult if you have an intermediate hand. Because if you bid Michaels and partner bids 2 of the major, you don't even know if you have a fit or not. So you don't know whether you should advance with a rather good hand.
Whatever 2 no trumps means by North, seems amazing to me that he had any bid at all. Hasn't got much of a hand, and the king of spades under the overcaller, so I would have expected a pass. I mean, if he thinks that the double promises hearts and clubs on this bidding, which is not everyone plays, then I suppose he could say that he had some sort of club-fitted 2 no trumps is unusual.
Now, here's the link to the scores again, where you can choose Bermuda Bowl, Venice Cup, and Dorsey Seniors Bowl. Could you please bookmark it? Thank you very much.
I'm surprised that East bid 3 hearts. The double indicated a 4-card heart in South. That should be a warning for East.
to show that he had at least a sound raise to 2 spades. So just to bid 2 spades if 2 diamonds is available, even though a diamond may be short, but I would still want to use that as a cubit. To bid 2 spades doesn't show very much. The Queen Jack of Diamonds are dubious cards, and what he's going to do with all those hearts is not clear when there's a hearts over him, and his trumps are not very good, which is another important factor. So I think, I mean, it's almost a contradiction in terms, but I think I agree with Peter there.
Sometimes life is tough. I mean, I've been asked for the running scores. I gave the link to the page where you can click on the various series. That wasn't good enough. I want the Bermuda bow. Sorry, but maybe you can click on Bermuda bow then when you get to that page.
See that Poland, who were momentarily in the first position sometime during the last match, are losing 0-24 to Egypt. Bit of a shock to their systems, which I'm sure they'll turn around.
Yep, in the Scandinavian derby, Denmark up by 8 against Sweden at this point. They probably need a bigger win to have a chance. On 22, the contract is 5 spades doubled in the other room.
Right, so we'll see if they do find that trump promotion we noted.
Yeah, putting Declarer to the test here in hearts, the 9 of hearts. Kang got it wrong. I have good news for you, David. In the women's, your women leading by 36, and Poland behind by 11 against Italy. So looking good for England.
Yes, suddenly they are in 8th position, and 17 VPs ahead of Poland, who are in 9th. We noted there was a very big gap between 9th and the team below. I think that was in the women's event.
Yes, that was yesterday, after play yesterday. There was a gap. So we said actually that one of the top 9 would miss out because no one else would be in contention further down the list. And that's probably the case still. But I think the 8 teams in 1 to 8 now are pretty certain to qualify. I know, still 3 matches tomorrow. Things can happen.
There's actually still a 23-point gap between 8th and 10th. So very, very difficult for anyone outside the top 9 in the women's event to get through. But of course Poland can easily qualify. They just need one team to drop down and have a couple of 2 or 3 good scores.
But David, you must be reasonably satisfied. England leading the Bermuda ball and in the knockouts for the Venice Cup.
Well, they've exceeded expectations, the Open team, but the women and the senior team have not really. They've been on the border for qualifying, and we think they would have more chance of medals than the Open team usually. Although we did think we'd sent a very strong team for the Open, not having any sponsors in it, but there don't seem to be that many sponsors around in the other teams as usual. Is that right, or am I imagining it?
You're right.
No, you're quite right. There are 2 American sponsors, and then I'm looking around trying to find the third.
I found it already, Peter. It's in the Polish team.
Who is sponsoring the Polish team?
Mazurkiewicz is the sponsor. Didn't you know that?
No, I didn't.
Well, that's why Gabriel Kulkowski weren't selected in the first place. I mean, the sponsor, well, money rules in Poland and everywhere else. The sponsor more or less decides which team he wants.
There never have been many sponsors in the women's event, and I believe we do have some in the seniors event.
But so much more impressive that the Poles playing 10 matches four-handed with a sponsor playing all matches.
Yes, until Wednesday afternoon. Then the third pair, Gabriel Kulkowski, entered, and they are playing regularly now.
I've been asked a few times how many board sponsors have to play. Say if we just look at the knockout stages, do they have to play their 1/3 of the boards in every round of knockout that they play? What happens if they didn't? They just wouldn't get any medals at the end? Is that the story?
They have to play 1/3 overall. It's not like in ACBL events where they have to play half of the boards. There's more lenient in Europe. In Europe, only 1/3.
1/3 in every match.
Not in every
Now
match.
1/3 of the matches in the round robin and 1/3 of the boards in the knockout. And if they don't, the only penalty is that they don't receive their medal.
Yes, I was asking 1/3 of the boards in every match of the knockout section, obviously not in the round robin. Yeah.
This is a typical Mackerel game, short of values, but that normally doesn't stop them from bidding games. Especially not now, after 3 clubs got doubled. Then Norse knows that he has 2 club tricks. And I don't think they can stop below game anyway, because 2 clubs is game forcing, as far as I know. Al will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 2 clubs sets up a game force.
Yes, he said it was forcing a game that could be balanced with only 2 clubs. Anyway, I mean, it's not that short of game. Normally when you talk about a Mackerel light game, we're talking about 22, 23 points. And that Queen of Hearts is a good card when partner opens a heart. So it looks like a pretty normal game, really.
If they bid to 3-0, West will regret his double of 3 clubs. Without the double, East would have let the Queen of Spade, and easy 5 tricks for East-West. On a club lead, it's much harder.
On a club lead and a spade switch, Peter, isn't that good enough?
That's good enough, yes, but they have to do that.
Yeah. Now let's see. Kang may lead the 2 of clubs, and there's no way Sun can know that partner. Here we have the 2 of clubs. There's no way Sun can know that partner doesn't have an honor, and that declarer only has 1 stopper in the suit. So I think he'll continue clubs.
And regret his double.
Exactly. Well, very distinguished spectator tells me that 3-0 trumps must surely show 2 stoppers. Well, not for West.
Yeah, I think they would have beaten par if West found a spade switch there. It's a bit of a long shot, I suppose. Queen 9x. Queen 9x, would that have been okay? With East.
And now 11 tricks.
I
think
should East have led a higher club with no honor? Well, I would also have led the 2, 10-4, reasonable, to show count. Why wouldn't I? Certainly playing with Peter, but I don't think Peter would have doubled 3 clubs.
Well, I was going to say that we'd seen quite a lot of lead directing doubles that I haven't agreed with. The last one we saw someone double 3 clubs on Queen 8 to 6 clubs or something. So I think there's nothing much wrong with the double. I mean, it could be that a spade lead would work better, but when you've got a side ace and ace jack 9 to 5, seems perfectly reasonable.
Yes, but you should ask about the bidding, and 3 clubs by South probably show shortness, and that makes the club lead less interesting.
I actually think it was described as diamond support, Peter.
Okay. But if I don't double, then my partner would let his strongest black suit and that's just what I like as rest.
Yeah. We have to make a
Yeah.
we have to make a go on.
Well, I
You
say when he's considering what to lead, he should bear in mind that he knows you've got something like 10 points upwards, and you didn't overcall one spade, so you're not likely to have 5 spades. And on many hands where you would have 4 and heart shortage, you would be good enough for a double. You see, some players might even doubled on the West cards as they are. So when partner doesn't, I mean, I'm not sure that he would prefer a spade lead to a club lead anyway. There's some indications that a spade lead is not going to work well.
Obviously, if 3 clubs does show shortage, then 3 no trumps will show a double stop. I agree with that. Now let's go back to how many boards you must play in this event, because we have to make a correction. It's true that everyone must play 1/3, but according to the conditions of contest, all members of the team get medals, regardless of the number of boards played, but the master points will be adjusted.
Right, so you could drop your sponsor for the knockout stages if you wanted to, or if he if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think it's his decision. Very aggressive. The game bidding, they always have been. Open a 9 count, and here they are in game on a combined 16.
And with the actual flop layout, there are 11 tricks.
Amazing, really. 16 high. All working. Well, jack of spades you can throw out.
Didn't Zia make a bowls bridge tip about 6 forfeits in a major? How well they played?
Yes. And actually Mech himself said, well, once you discover that you have a 10-card fit, you just bid game in a major and hope that it makes. That's his philosophy. I'm asked, what is 3 diamonds exactly, please? It's known as a mixed race. So some offensive, some defensive values. You may call it a limit race if you like. But it's known as a mixed race after the double. Doesn't say anything about diamonds.
East-West have a good sacrifice in diamonds. Didn't come to light because of Sun's decision to double rather than to overcall 2 diamonds. Of course, we can't say it was a mistake to double. Players at this level know what they're doing on the first round of bidding for sure. Just that his choice didn't happen to work out so well.
Nope. I think most people would overcall 2 diamonds. I could be wrong. I would. Definitely.
And you know I would also.
I know you would, because you require 4 spades to double 1 heart.
Yes, or extra strength.
This is of course a strong club. We're used to sometimes on BBO having the alerted bids surrounded by a red box by the operator, but they're not following that method for this tournament in the main.
Some of the operators are very good to mark alerts.
Yes, that's just a bonus though. It's 10 times more important for them to tell us the whole of the play, which was lacking early on, but I said in the last match that it seemed that they were either putting their best operators onto the big matches or the general standard had improved with all the practice that they've had. Haven't seen so many abbreviated play records going up.
Peter, here's the question for you. I don't know why he didn't ask you yourself, but I'll relay it anyway. Here it is. Now your right-hand opponent opens 1 heart, and you are dealt ace, king, 1, singleton heart, jack to 5 diamonds, and king, queen to 4 clubs. So a 13 count with a singleton heart and only 3 spades. Do you pass? Do you double? Or do you overcall 2 diamonds?
I don't overcall 2 diamonds. I only have the
Sweden hammering Denmark now, I'm sorry to say, if you're a Denmark supporter. Denmark had a very good start, but Sweden recovered and are now 25 ahead and getting closer to a qualifying spot.
And the Danish ladies are now 12 victory points ahead of number 2. The whole day they were in a sandwich between USA2 and USA1. I expected so. They were the goodies in the sandwich, just between. But now they are 12 points ahead of Italy, and the 2 American teams are dropped as number 4 and 5.
And David's England women are 20 VPs ahead of Poland. So looking good for England also.
Well, the very first thing that pleased us all back in England was that first time for a long while we actually got all 3 teams through into the final, so that was quite an achievement too from the European qualifying groups. I mean, England hasn't played in the Bermuda Bowl very often. It's hard to get through, particularly when Monaco created an extra team artificially and there are only 6 places.
But watch out, David. After yesterday's big win for Denmark against England, they may pick them if they get the chance.
Well, it's obvious that they're a fabulous team. Who are the big names in the Danish women's team?
No big names. Team effort.
Rather new players. I think the most well-known name is Christina Lund Madsen, but she is very new on the team. And then there are Nadia Bekush, who have played for Denmark, I think for 10-15 years now.
Has Lund Madsen played any Open bridge? Her name is quite familiar to me. Didn't she do well in the Euro Open?
No, she did well in an ACBL event.
Also in Tromsø.
Oh yeah, right. But she won an ACBL event recently. On an open team, that is.
Well, that's a pretty splendid achievement in itself.
Yes, and in Tromsø she played on a Dutch team, and either 1 or 2 in the mixed. I think they won the mixed, didn't they, Roland?
They did, yes, sure. She played with Toon Bakkeren from the Netherlands.
Here's another strong club opening with 1 diamond, probably a negative in some versions of Precision. You can come to life later and show 4-4-4 one hands if that's still played. So if North had passed, 2 hearts would have been forcing, but I don't believe it's quite forcing over intervention. And they get to the par contract of 4 hearts easily enough.
Yeah, sadly for them, the
Christina Lund Madsen and her partner Fia Holberg are the newcomers.
Do you remember, David, you asked the other day how much the Danish British magazine would write about these championships? And I said,
yeah, you said one of them was the editor.
Exactly, and that's Christina Lund Madsen. So I'm pretty sure that we get a lot in many issues, consecutive issues, I predict.
12 extra pages in the next.
If there's any justice, this will be a flat board. It's a pretty good, excellent game really, and the cards just lie unfavourably.
Yeah, I remember the term the impossible negative when I grew up with bridge in precision, where one diamond could be a strong hand, where you had to respond to one diamond regardless.
Some pairs switched and they started using 3-level bids to show the singleton immediately. The great dealer has only 2 more chances to give us a slam hand to enjoy. It's been fair enough watching 2 top teams slugging as hard as they can against each other, trying for small margins, but there's not been much in the cards, has there?
No.
And very few have changed hands.
But I think USA has a few good boards in this room, still to be played in the other. They are on 26. So with a bit of, just a little bit of luck, we'll be able to watch maybe 4 boards in the other room when we finish here.
And here is the slam you were asking for, David. 6 diamonds. Excellent slam.
Yes, even with King, Queen of Spades wasted. Quite amazing. And the King of Queen of Hearts offside. It's a wonderful slam.
Well, Roland knows their system better than me, but for some precision pairs you can bid 1 no trump on either 8 to 10 or a much higher range, and if you had 11 to 13 you would start off with 2 no trumps.
I don't know it that well, but Al does. You can see he writes that 1 spade and 1 no trump promises spade stopper. Unlimited game forcing.
So now he can happily raise the diamonds. He's already shown the nature of his hand, and it's game forcing. Some players would have bid 2 spades on the west hand, assuming that's still natural, to take away more bidding space. He's got a 6-card suit at favourable.
Yep. I'm asked, is it really true that MEC will have 1,200 pages of system notes? Well, I haven't counted them. But the late Walter Johnson, rest in peace, actually told us that they have more than 1,200, and they have a shorter version with only 800. So, yeah, I think it's true.
Well, that's really hard to believe, isn't it? What's that? It's longer than War and Peace. How can they remember all that?
Well, they've been partners for more than 30 years, definitely in more than 30 years, closer to 40. So why not, David? I mean, they've been partners without interruptions for almost 40 years.
Why not? Because any single line of 1100 pages is not like to come up more than once every 2 years. Then you may forget it. It's not practical for anyone who's a normal human being. Of course, I exclude them from that category.
I remember one of my friends many years ago. He constructed many conventions, and in a special sequence, a jump to 4-0 was asking for queens. And he and his partner had a board where that jump to 4-0 asking for queens led to a very good grand. And after the board, my friend took their system cards and erased that convention. And his partner said, "Why do you do that? It works so well." Yes, but it will never happen again the next 3 years.
Was that Alexander Kontsev? I believe.
Exactly, it was Alexander Kontsev playing with Knud Bosgaard, playing Copenhagen Club, which was a variation of Apple Club.
Yeah, Blue Club. That's right. I seem to remember. Say it'll never come up again. Let's dump it.
Now we're just waiting to see if Rodwell sees any reason to bid 6-no trumps, that's all. Can't believe we're getting higher than that. Since 4-no trumps was artificial, 6 diamonds may have shown the spade void anyway.
And an even number of key cards, maybe? Yeah, could be. 6-no trumps. How about that?
Wow. 6 diamond tricks, 2 heart is 8, 2 clubs is 10, and 1 spade is 11.
Unless they give him 2 spade tricks. Do you remember earlier? Club lead to the ace and club continuation, Peter? What about spade to the ace and spade continuation? Oh, but just spade to the ace, I mean. You see the danger now for the defense?
Well, anyway, whatever happens on this trick, looks likely that he can catch West if he reads the cards right.
Yeah, I think now it's all over, but there might be a squeeze. There might be a squeeze, an end play, a squeeze without the count, where you can end play West to lead away from the Queen of Hearts.
What if the first trick had gone differently? Right, we're on to the final board, and I think we can say without fear of contradiction that these boards have not been above average in interest. Nevertheless, to watch 2 of the best teams in the world slogging it out in the Bermuda Bowl in Chennai is absolutely wonderful, and I look forward to both the matches that I was scheduled to watch today. That was England-China, USA1 China, and I thought that was a pretty superb lineup, as it is on most days. You can find two or three great matches to watch, depending on how much spare time you've got. So many thanks to our wonderful VG operator. Again, been, well, I think faultless in this session. I don't remember any undos, any incomplete play records. He's been absolutely brilliant. Many thanks to BBO, as we say every session, deservedly so, for letting us watch this great bridge on their great screen. Many thanks to Peter and Roland. And many thanks to the players who've been entertaining us so much. I mean, I went to the theatre yesterday afternoon, and at the end the actual performers got a round of applause. So I think we can mentally thank these great players for their efforts, not just in this match but throughout the first week, and they're the ones who've been regally entertaining us. Many thanks to them. Many thanks to 3,800 or so kibitzers watching just at this table. That's absolutely wonderful. Thanks to you all.
Thank you, David. As I said earlier, I thought that USA would have a few good boards in this room coming, and we have one already on board 26, where 3-no trumps made with 2 over tricks in this room. In the other room, the contract went down. Do you remember the hand where West doubled 3 clubs? Got a club lead, club continuation, easy make. Not so at the other table.
No, but also a club lead at the other table, Roland.
At the other table, a club was also led, but...
Yes. West found the shift to a spade.
To a spade. But remember, in the other room, East did not lead the 2 of clubs, Peter. He led the 6 of clubs.
No, he led the 3 of clubs.
Or the 3. But not his lowest. Isn't that right? Yeah.
Oh yes, but if they lead 3rd and 5th, it's exactly the same.
It has been a pleasure as usual, gentlemen. Thanks to all our spectators for coming. Hope to see you back tomorrow for the last 3 matches in the round robin. I'll send you the matches again, David, as usual, and I'll pick a couple. 2nd and 3rd as usual.
Excellent. Yeah, I see that Poland have really been hammered by Italy in the ladies' event, so the top 8 teams have broken away. You can imagine it's just like a 10,000 metres with 8 runners half a lap ahead and almost certain to qualify. 21 VP gap between 8th and 9th. So there we go. The action may be over there, but there'll be plenty of excitement in the Open. And the last day of the round robin is one of the best days to watch, when the qualifiers can change every single board. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
In the Open, in the Bermuda Bowl, Sweden only 5.5 VPs behind USA2 in 8th place. Well, actually USA1, but that would change because USA1 have many good boards to come, and this is one of them. So they're getting, I mean, just 500 or 800 here out of thin air.
check on that. See who's been not faring so well. Maybe they've allowed in our third pair.
What do you mean lowly? Japan in 10th.
Sorry, my mistake. They're in 10th, yeah, that's right. I thought we had to play 3 teams near the bottom. You're absolutely right, sorry. But I thought we started well in that match and we kind of scored on him for about an hour. Yes, I was quite wrong. There we are. Strong team. In fact, Japan are only a whisker away from qualifying for the knockout, so that's a very important match for them as well.
Claire would have saved no.
I suppose can take it 3 down, can't they?
There's diamond to club king.
Or a club to the king. That's good enough. For 500. 800, I mean. Very good board. Let's go to the closed room and watch if you like. Thanks everyone. See you tomorrow.
Bye for now.